Hello everyone, welcome to Keto Living. So today I have a recipe for you that I've been working on for a while. It's a dessert recipe and it is chocolate chip cookies. Now I love chocolate chip cookies and I have tried some recipes that I've seen online because there are a lot of keto chocolate chip cookie recipes out there, but they didn't quite taste, I don't know, just like the chocolate chip cookies I remember making as a kid. So I played around with the recipe, and I think I have the perfect recipe. So I'm going to show you the ingredients that we're going to be using today, and then I'll put you down here and we'll get started. So first of all, I'm going to be using my Splenda Naturals. This is the erythritol with stevia. We're going to be using some, whoops, excuse me, I knocked that out of place. We're going to be using Swerve brown sugar replacement. This is what makes chocolate chip cookies good, guys. I don't know, you just can't have chocolate chip cookies without having brown sugar in them. It just doesn't work for me. Now, you're going to be using butter and softened butter. This is a half a cup, one stick. And we're going to be using 1/4 of a cup of coconut oil. Now, you're going to start with the solid oil and melt it down. We're going to be using almond flour, sea salt, vanilla extract, and almond extract. We're going to be using an egg. And we're going to be using baking soda, not, where's my baking soda? Oh, left it over here. Baking soda, not baking powder, okay? So look at it, and then the star is Lily's chocolate chips. I like Lily's chips. They don't have any, speak of, carbs after you take out all the factors. So they're like 8 carbs for 26 chips, which you never get that many in a cookie. But wouldn't it be nice? 4 grams of fiber, and then 3 grams of erythritol. So basically, 26 chips is 1 carb. So we're going to be using about, you can use between 3/4 of a cup and a cup. Now, I also just snack on these as just a little treat. Just get a few of them out, pop them in my mouth, and it usually takes care of my sweet tooth. But today I'm going to show you something else to do with them. Alright, so, and if this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome, and welcome everybody if I didn't say that. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, think about it by hitting that little subscribe button over there. And don't forget to tap the bell when it pops up, and then you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is measure our ingredients and separate them a little bit. Take my eggs out here. We're going to get the dry ingredients together, and that is 2 cups of almond flour. And I have another bag just in case I don't have 2 cups in here, which I don't think I do. Try to top off that a little bit. Okay, so that's 1. I might have just about 2. What do you know? 2 cups of almond flour. Then we're going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, and then we're going to add in the salt. And I'm just speculating about 1/2 teaspoon. Now, you might be adding, why I'm adding salt. Well, salt is a leveling agent for one thing, but another thing is salt really brings out the taste and the sweet. And I don't know why that is, but just ask my grandmother. She will tell you. Okay, so then we're just going to get a fork and mix that up. And we're going to set that to the side for right now because we don't need it right now. So in our mixing bowl, we're going to add 1 stick of butter. That's a 1/2 cup of butter. Softened, not melted. And I don't throw away my wrappers right away because if I have to grease a pan or something, that is a great way to grease a pan with all the little residue butter on there. And then we're going to add in 1/4 cup of the coconut oil, which I melted. And then we're going to bring in, this is Big Bertha. I don't have a small handheld mixer, but my one that comes in my mixing bowl does come off. So we're just going to give this a quick mix. Then we're going to add in our sweeteners. So, first thing we're going to do is add our brown sugar, which is, again, swerved brown sugar. No sugar, not real sugar at all. And we're going to add 1/4 cup. I say 1/4 cup? No, 1/3 cup, sorry, of brown sugar. Now, just like with any brown sugar, you just want to make sure you pack it in there and dump that in there. I love this brown sugar, by the way. It makes the best recipes and stuff. Alright, then we're going to add our our 1/4 cup of regular sweetener. And I have poured some of mine out in a little container that's a little bit easier to dip. A little bit bold. And we're just going to add 1/4 cup of that in there. Okay. Then we're going to crack 1 egg. And add that in there. And then we're going to cream these together until it's a pale yellow. Okay, so now I'm going to scrape down the sides. It's looking good. Don't want to lose any batter, so let's put that back in the bowl. Alright. So now we're going to add our flavoring. So we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. And I usually just use the cap because the cap is a teaspoon. Just in case you didn't know that. And then we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. So we're talking about like 1/2 a capful here. I love almond extract. And then we're just going to give that a quick beat. Okay, then we're going to start adding our dry ingredients in. So we're just going to add a little bit at a time. So I'm going to add about 1/2 of it and get that mixed in. And then we're going to add the other 1/2. Okay, and then we're through. I'm just going to take my spatula and scrape down my bowl. Now you're going to add in your chocolate chips. And like I said, it's usually 3/4 of a cup to a cup. And I'm just going to see how many I have left in this bag, because I have been snacking off of them. Look at there. Perfect. Now, you can also get creative. Some people like nuts in their chocolate chip cookies, pecans, or whatever. But I'm just a purist when it comes to this, unless it's a cookie bar or something. Now, you can use a mixer if you want to, but I prefer that my chocolate chips not get all banged up. I want the whole chip in there. So we're just going to mix these up. Then we're going to get our baking pan and start rolling them. Okay, now let me tell you a couple of things first. One is, if you like a fluffier cookie, then you could add 2 tablespoons of coconut flour to this recipe. It will soak up some of the moisture, and the cookies will be fluffier. If you like a crunchy cookie, then do it this way. I like a crunchy cookie. So we're just going to take about a tablespoon here, and we're going to roll these into balls and plop them on the paper. Now you can also make drop cookies out of them, which will make them sort of halfway in between crunchy and fluffy. So for the sake of time, I think that's what I'm going to do. Now they're not going to spread out that much, because as you know, almond flour doesn't have all the leavening in it. But you don't want to put them too close together. We did put baking soda in it. And we're just going to continue doing this. Now you're probably going to get about 2 dozen cookies, maybe a little bit more out of this. And we're going to bake these for 9 to 11 minutes at 350 degrees. And then when they come out, we're going to cool them in the pan for a few minutes. Then we're going to take a spatula and transfer the cookies onto a cooling rack, because this would allow them to harden up and be just a little bit more stable cookie. And I am using my convection oven, so my pans are a little bit smaller. Baking pans are a little bit smaller. But if you were using a great big cookie sheet in your big oven, you more than likely could get all 21 cookies on one pan. But I'm using 2 pans. Okay, so now we're going to put these in the oven, and I'll be back to show you what they look like in about 9 minutes. Okay, so my first batch is out of the oven. I actually got more than 21 cookies. I got 24 cookies, and then I had some left over, and I'll show you what I did with that when we come back. Alright guys, cookies are done. Oh, yummy. Now, I went ahead and made 2 different kinds. I made them a little bit fluffier, and they're a little soft and chewy. And then I made some that were thin and crunchy. And just to give you an idea of what you can do. So when you do drop cookies, or just drop them in there, put them in the pan, and don't do anything to them, they come out a little bit fluffier. For these, I sort of rolled them in a ball, really kind of dropped them on there, but I pressed them down till they were almost flat, and then baked them, and they come out a little bit more crunchy. And so, what did I do with that leftover cookie dough? Well, let me show you. I made a cookie cake. It was just left over, and I didn't want to do another whole pan. I just used this little silicone baking pan, and actually these came from the Dollar Tree, and they work really well. And voila, cookie cake. My daughter would love this. So anyway, that's the cookies. So I hope you give these a try. They are really good. Just let me tell you the info on them. When you make them really small like this, and kind of softy, whatever, when they're small, you only get about 1 net carb per cookie. When you make them a little bit bigger and The thin and crunchy, there's about maybe 1 1/4 to 1 1/2. I mean, you're not going to be able to sit down and eat a whole plate of cookies, okay? Because they still do have like 1 carb, but if you eat 12 cookies, you're going to get 12 carbs. So, but anyway, let's give these a taste. I want to see how they came out. Okay, so you can't have a cookie without a cup of coffee or a glass of milk. And I love almond milk. I don't drink regular milk, but I don't know. It's just not the same as cookies, so a cup of coffee it is. So let's give these a try. Let's take a hard, crunchy one. That's just plain good. Tastes like Grandma's cookies. Now, don't forget, let these cool off in a pan first. Then when the pan is cool to the touch, take a little spatula and put them on a baking rack. This is what I use here. It's just a cookie baking rack. Let them cool completely until they get hardened. And then you will have wonderful chocolate chip cookies. Thank you so much for joining me today. Like I said, I hope you give this recipe a try. And for those that are dairy free, the only thing dairy in here basically were the chocolate chips. You can get vegan chips, and the butter, as far as butter goes, there are wonderful plant-based butters out on the market now. And I've tried them. They're really good. I think that, can't remember the name of it, that comes in a little tub, spreadable butter, but they also have plant-based butter and the sticks as well, and you can certainly substitute that for the real butter. And like I said, they do have vegan chocolate chips as well. But if you get 100% dark chocolate chips, there's no dairy in them at all. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you all again next Friday for another keto living. Bye!